Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Sars and Mazi. Welcome to another powerful edition of Kingdom Business and Career Hotspots. If you're just joining us for the first time today, my name is Atinuke Adeniro, and I talk to school leavers, young graduates on how to prosper by the gospel in their careers and in their businesses. If you're new to this channel, please click the subscribe button below, subscribe for more powerful content that will help you grow and advance in your careers. In this video, I'm going to be doing a little bit of story time where I'll be sharing my own personal experience of how I was able to advance my career and how I was able to get better at my job and overcome imposter syndrome. So I started my career early 2020. I had previously been working as a freelancer, but this was my first time actually having an actual job. And I remember during that time, that job was a huge miracle for me because I didn't have a source of income. I was still in school and I really wanted to do something for myself. Eventually, I took the bold step to apply, and by the hand of God, I was accepted into the company. Now, this company was one of the biggest companies in Lagos, Nigeria, and it was an agency. And I got the job and I started off there. And it was as though every time I would submit a task and I would do my work, I would literally always have negative feedback. Like, I would put in all my best, work on a task for like 4 or 5 hours, and I would still not get the feedback that I wanted. And I knew that this affected me so much. I just kept getting frustrated over and over and over and over again. And I'm really grateful to my team lead, Moji. Moji, if you're watching this, thank you so much for all your help. I really love you so much. But Moji was a huge blessing to me then. I remember she would go out of her way every weekend. She would take me through the basics, the rudiments, and she would just help me know that, you're not alone. And she would make me see that, this work is easy, something that I can get and something that I can do. And at that time, I believed what she was saying, but I was more interested in, focusing on courses. I was taking a lot of courses online. I was trying to get better, trying to do everything that I could possibly do. Eventually, when I saw that nothing was working, I gave myself 3 months. And I said, if I don't get better at this job in 3 months, then I will definitely quit. Because for me, it was more than just earning a salary. It was more than just doing a task. It was more than just having a job. I wanted to be sure that the work I was doing was affecting the company positively. I wanted to be sure that the work I was doing was worth it, and they were making the investment they were making in giving me a salary was worth their time and worth their money. And, this was what I set out to do. And I remember at that time I sowed a seed. Now, if you don't know the meaning of sowing seeds, it's basically giving maybe financially or materially to church or to a man of God or, wherever you feel like your seed should go. But for me, I gave it to my man of God. And at that time, I was just trusting God that, I would receive a miracle. And then, he spoke words over me. And, those words held my heart in that time and in that moment. And I just spent some time just listening, taking my courses, going on as usual. And I remember one day, one of my colleagues, she called and then she wanted to explain the brief to me because she wanted me to understand exactly what she wanted. And then she called me and she kept explaining and explaining and explaining. And then prior to that time, Moji had sent my number. She had attached my number to the email. So I guess she thought that, Moji was the number belonged to Moji. So when she called, she was like, "Hi, Moji." I didn't even hear when she said hi, Moji, but, she said, "Hi, Moji." And then, she kept explaining and I was talking to her, and then at the end I was like, "Oh, I'm not Moji." She's like, "What? This is Atinuke." She said, "Wow, you sound exactly like Moji." And I had this comment over and over and over and over again. And after that time, it was like people would send briefs to the emails to the team, and they would say, "Oh, I want Atinuke to work on this. Can Atinuke work on this?" And at that time, it was as though I had an embodiment of prophetic words happen to me. Like, I literally embodied the words that my pastor has spoken over me. Like, at that time, it was like my work was like team lead standard. It was like team lead quality. And, I was getting to that point where I was actually making progress in my life. So I just wanted to say that if you're going through any form of you're feeling overwhelmed, you're feeling like you don't belong in that current career, that current job that you're in, trust me, that is the voice of the devil. It's the voice of condemnation. It's not the voice of righteousness. The voice of righteousness will tell you that you are right, you belong there, and you will get better. Now, the spirit of excellence, on the other hand, will make sure that your work comes out on top, but you must put in the work. right? So what happens when you put in work into what you're doing is that you give God a huge database to work on. Now, God can easily say that, pick from this and pick from that and pick from this. But if you don't give God anything to work on, it's like 0 multiplied by infinity, or multiplied by, maybe not infinity, maybe 0 multiplied by like 1 million. The answer is still 0. So if you give God nothing to work on, then you would have no answer to collect from him. And I remember somebody used to tell me then that, one of my pastors used to tell me then that, if you're looking for an answer from God, just watch out for your conversations during the day, watch out for the things that you're doing during the day, because, it's so easy for God to speak to us. We hear the voice of God. God is forever willing, ever willing to hear our voice, ever willing to give us answers, to lead us, and to show us this is the way that we're supposed to walk in. And I remember at that time, back to my story now, I remember at that time, I would know exactly what courses to take. I would know what articles to read. I would know how to apply what I learned to the work that I did. Right. And I recognize that as the spirit of wisdom. Now I recognize that as spirit of wisdom. At that time, I just felt like I was doing things that were normal. So I want to encourage you, if you think that you're supposed to take a particular course, or you feel like, oh, I'm supposed to read a particular book, or I'm supposed to do a particular thing at this time, right? Just follow that leading on your heart, right? It might seem, and that's how the leading of God is, because we are children of God. It sounds so natural to us. The voice of God is so natural to us. So it can come as our own thoughts. It can come as our own imagination. But the moment we say, oh, I want to take this step, I want to go read this book, I want to go take this course, I want to take this certification, I want to go for my master's, God can literally use that. God can literally use that to elevate your career, to take you to heights you never thought you could attain. So just a quick recap, we talked about some very important principles here in this video. We talked about releasing your faith. Now, releasing your faith can come in different forms. Either you sow a seed, you take an action of faith, but whatever you feel in your heart to do, please go ahead to do it. So release your faith. Diligence, the importance of diligence in the life of the believer cannot be overemphasized. One thing my pastor always says is that God will blow through a ram's horn, but the moment he finds a golden trumpet, he's going to drop that ram's horn and pick up the golden trumpet. And you don't want to be the ram's horn. You want to be the golden trumpet all the time. So the way you become the golden trumpet is by sharpening your skills. Go out and get the certifications you need. Go out and get the jobs that you need. Every single person that God used in the Bible and that God used mightily, they always had something they were doing. For example, if we look at the story of Peter and John, they were fishermen. If you look at Paul was such an educated young man. He was a tent maker. So literally almost everybody that God used in the Bible was people that were already doing things in these sectors. And that just goes to show that businessmen and career men are important to God. They are 100% important to God. I hope you've been blessed by this story. I hope that this story has provided you with more clarity, more wisdom. And I pray that you receive an interpretation for your situation, for that thing you're going through at the moment. I pray that it brings you answers, clarity, and I pray that it is interpreted on your heart exactly the way that you need it. Thank you so much for joining us today for Kingdom Business and Career Hotspots. If you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to type them in the comment section or send me an email. My email is in the description box below. If you need further resources on how to prosper in your business and career, please visit the Supernatural Businessman Telegram channel. Now, this is for anybody and anybody at all that is in a business, in the field of business or career path, any career path at all. Please visit the Supernatural Businessman Telegram channel at t.me/the Supernatural Businessman. Thank you so much for joining us for another powerful edition of Kingdom Business and Career Hotspots. See you on the next video. Thank you.